Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Welcome. Your testimony today is very important. Mr. Chairman, I've got a initial statement for the record that I'd like to ask you.
Without objection, it will be entered into the record.
And it goes on at great length about how fantastic Colorado's approach is.
Eloquent.
Well, it's eloquent as well, but about how targeted and broad-reaching Colorado's approach is, including the National Renewable Energy Lab's presence and so on. But I'd like to turn, if I could, quickly to a couple of questions. And Mr. Wright, I'd start with you. Your testimony referenced that the state of Colorado and the FERC have a history when it comes to working together to streamline the development of small-scale hydro. In 2010, Colorado and the FERC signed a memorandum of understanding to develop a pilot program. And in 2011, on the heels of that, an irrigation pipeline in Meeker was the first project to successfully complete that new pilot process. That approval took just 2 months. While in the past, similar projects have taken upwards of 3 years to get approval, and that's a remarkable change of pace. Can you talk a little bit more about what you've learned from the pilot program and what role the program may play if the proposed legislation were to become law?
Thank you, Senator. What we did learn from the MOU with Colorado, and this was spelled out in the MOU, was seeking sites that are accommodating for hydro development. And that's one of the points I made in my testimony, is finding proper sites. Also, running the traps, if you will, between the various permitting agencies. This makes the process go quicker, and this is what we have seen in Colorado, and this was part and parcel of the MOU with Colorado in terms of finding those spots, those sweet spots, if you will, for development, making sure that the government agencies, other permitting agencies are on board, and that makes the process go that much quicker.
We look forward to continuing to move in that direction. We have many, many opportunities in Colorado. I want to talk about H.R. 678, if I might, which has been introduced and carried in the House, and the chairman talked about the strong support for it. And I'm looking forward to working with the chairman, Senator Barrasso, to move the bill from our committee to the president's desk. I know we want to maximize our federal resources to develop clean, sustainable energy, as H.R. 678 will do, but we shouldn't do that at the expense of the environment. And some of the bills have the potential to waive some of the requirements from NEPA, which has brought tremendous benefits to our country. And I want to highlight one from Colorado. For years, the I-70 corridor, which runs from Denver to Glenwood Springs, experienced hours of congestion as travelers heading to the ski areas, including Senator Murkowski's sons, who are going to college in our great state. Hikers, other recreational destinations. We've had a lot of plans for improving the corridor's capacity, but some of them were unattractive and would have channeled the Colorado River and would have had some negative effects. So the majority of the stakeholders didn't support this preferred alternative, and the Colorado Department of Transportation then used the NEPA process to initiate a collaborative decision-making process to identify a new reconstruction plan. And thanks to the input it received through the NEPA process, CDOT, our Colorado Department of Transportation, came up with a plan that was not only safer, but it had fewer impacts on the environment and the river. And that project has won now some 30 awards for innovative design and environmental sensitivity. I understand that, now back to Representative Tipton's bill, that it's consistent with the Bureau of Reclamation's categorical exclusion policy set by the administration last September. Mr. Pimley, could you expand on the reasoning used by the BOR to waive the NEPA requirements on small hydropower projects?
I wouldn't say that we were waiving NEPA compliance. What the process we would go through is based in a well-established process for a minor construction, which is designed to recognize that largely you are operating within an existing footprint of a facility. So you go through a process to evaluate whether this is in the conduit hydro process. You go through a process to evaluate whether or not you are, in effect, within the same footprint. If you're using existing infrastructure, if you're not changing the diversion flow rates or timing, or discharge locations, and if you are making sure you are not changing the intent of the facility. In other words, if it's irrigation primarily, it remains irrigation. So with those criteria and the ability, the flexibility to look for extraordinary circumstances which may arise, as is outlined in our DNS, that gives us the ability, if something does jump up that does indicate there are some impacts that we had not anticipated, we still have the ability to go to a more detailed NEPA evaluation, environmental assessment, or that's what we've used up till now. I think we've got about a half dozen of these that we've done using the EA process.
So your overall sense is there's a balance here, and CEs, categorical exclusions, have a real role to play, but there's also a check and balance as you foresee it, if it could be applied to Congressman Tipton's bill.
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.